Hey, and welcome to NUFC Talk. Let's go through our social medias really quickly because Sven Botman has been revealed.
Big news.
Been revealed 20 minutes ago. So if you're brand new to the channel, thank you for downloading and subscribing. You can get us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter. Just search NUFC Talk Pod. We'll show up on all them. If you want to get us individually, give us some grief or agree with some of the things that we say. Twitter's the best place to get us both. Glen with one N _ NUFC
At Yanis NUFC.
So that's the social media stuff done. Now the exciting stuff. Sven Botman. We've talked about it since January.
That's mad, isn't it?
The pod last week, we and ahhed, was it going to happen? I said my guts felt like it was going to happen. I don't know why. Maybe it was just wishful thinking. Over the weekend, it seemed like it was confirmed it was happening. But 8:30 Tuesday, as we were recording, 20 minutes ago or 25 minutes ago, he's a Newcastle player. What's your initial feelings, Jan?
I think it's brilliant. I think it's really, really brilliant news. For a lot of reasons. Obviously, it's I feel it's the marquee signing up there alongside kind of Bruno.
Yeah.
Imagine Newcastle paying 30-odd million for a centre half. For a centre back.
I know.
Like 30 million for a centre back.
So what was the final fee? 35 million?
I think it works out about 33 million pounds, about 37 or something million euros.
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time we spent big cash on a centre back? Boom Song was what, 8 million money?
Yeah, but it's so exciting to be involved in them conversations with transfers. I think if you're a regular listener, you probably would have heard us mention this before. It's exciting that we're in conversations for players. The fact that AC Milan, that's what's really impressive. They were the other front runners for Sven Botman, and understandably he wanted to hear what their options were or what their opinions were. We outbidded AC Milan, which
it's crazy that
even though we know we have the money as Newcastle supporters, it still hasn't sunk in. We are the richest sports team in the world, and yes, it's financial fair play, but still just to hear we outbidded AC Milan for a player that they wanted. That's mental.
And we outbidded them, but I don't think we paid over the odds. You're paying in the 30s now, £30 million for a 22-year-old who's got all the hallmarks of somebody who goes on to be like an absolute European star in his position. I don't think you're paying.
But the stats were he's for, was it under 25s? He's the third ranked centre half in Europe.
Is he?
Yeah.
Who are the top two?
I can't remember. I knew you were going to ask me that as soon as I said the stat. I'm like, who's the other two? But yeah, he was number 3 in Europe, which if we're picking up players like that, that's incredible.
Well, it's just the whole idea of Newcastle chasing a target for like 2 transfer windows.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's brilliant, that, isn't it? Usually we're just trying to mop up whatever deal's kicking about.
So do you want to go through these numbers and we can talk about them a little bit more? So anybody who doesn't know too much about Sven Botman, he started off his career playing for Ajax 2. So they have 2 teams over in Holland. Ajax 2, he played 28 games, scoring twice. He then went on loan to
Heerenveen,
where he played 26 times, scored twice, and then he had his transfer to Lille, where he's played 62 times, scored 3 goals, and that's where he won the league as well with them there. So there was an interesting interview before we get into this. So I think he's a bit of a natural winner as well, where some people just have that extra instincts to want to win stuff. And his coach at Heerenveen actually came across this guy's called Johnny Jansen, and he was managing him when he came over on loan. Just to give you an idea, if anyone doesn't know this type of character is, he described him as a centre-half who likes the ball at his feet, defends his box really well, and is really good with one-on-one duels, which sounds like 101 stuff for centre-halves. But when you hear someone point out that that's actually his strong points and made a point of saying that, it just shows you how good he is at them parts of the game, if that makes sense. He gave him the captain's armband several times. So even though he was only on loan, only played 26 games, he actually captained the club a few times.
And he'd been 20?
20-year-old. So he was on loan for one season, captained the club a few times. He's not afraid to speak his mind, so I wrote this down word for word. After one of the games where he was playing for Heerenveen, his team got beat 2-1. he came out, did the interview after the game and said, "I don't know what goes on in the minds of the attackers, but I hope it doesn't get into their minds," because they had a really bad performance. So this Johnny Jansen said I had to pull him in as a young 20-year-old, saying you can't go on
Crucify your teammates.
you can't go and basically blame it on the strikers for not finishing the shots. So it shows you that he is a winner. He's going to say his mind.
Yeah.
And for him to get the captain's armband, it's another natural leader that seems like we've added to the team.
Well, I think I said it, put it on Twitter a few days ago when I saw Nick Pope's interview and how he spoke, and it was clear that if you look all through Eddie Howe's signings, there's not a risk in terms of not a player's going to put a shift in. There's not a risk in terms of somebody you think might not fancy it on a cold night in Stoke or whatever. You know, but there's no risk of somebody who's not going to put it all in. Like I think characters are really important to what he wants to build, and I think the signings class, absolute marquee signing. 30 odd million for one of the most sought after young centre halves who can actually play with the ball at his feet as well. Obviously he's got such a high ceiling in terms of where he can go to.
Big lad as well. He's 6'4".
He's massive, isn't he? And he's big framed as well.
Yeah.
Naturally big framed as well. It doesn't look like he's like had loads of mass on in the gym. It just looks like he's got a massive frame. I don't think he's naturally particularly quick, but he's good at reading the game and good at obviously was it Ronnie Johnson?
Johnny Jansen.
Ronnie Johnson.
Yeah, Ronnie.
Like one-on-one, like obviously he's meant to be very, very good. So I think it's an amazing signing. And I think it's really clever. The two like marquee risky signings, if you like, in terms of players that are coming from a foreign league, players that might not pick up the league straight away, in terms of obviously Bruno and now Botman, have been surrounded by really shrewd, know the Premier League inside out kind of signings.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's exceptional business. I think it really is. I think it's good to see us like chase, and also in chasing. Yes, we've outbidded Milan in terms of what they could offer. I think it's Lille what they could offer them rather than what they could offer Botman, right?
Yeah. It was there was a transfer fee.
The fee
I
itself.
think if they both could match personal terms, yeah.
But so that's obviously brilliant. But at the same time, I don't feel like we've paid the Newcastle tax. I don't feel like we've paid over the odds for this. It's kind of what I'm like. Yeah, if we'd gone in for under 30, I'd be like, yeah, that's an absolute steal.
Well, if you look at all of our players, this Newcastle tax, does it actually really exist? Bar Chris Wood, but for Chris Wood, we hit his release clause.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But for 25 million for the job we needed to do at the time, we didn't have an out-and-out striker. It was either paid 25 million for Wood, who knew the Premier League, could lead the line, do a job to bring other players in. It was either him or basically putting
Dwight Gill.
Yeah, Dwight Gill up top. So at the time, 25 million to other teams probably would have been a lot, but for what we needed at the time, 25 million.
Yeah, it's still shrewd business. Yeah, I agree. So I agree. I think the Newcastle tax is something that teams and agents look at the Ekitike deal. Or
give it 2 years. There might be Newcastle tax.
Aye. But I think that's what some agents, like I say, and teams are maybe trying to exploit, and maybe if you try to sign a superstar, maybe they'll want to pay that absolute fortune to come here. But for now, I think the club have done really, really well in terms of operated really well in the transfer market. I mean, replacing the back four, most parts of the back four, for what they've done, like in terms of I mean, Bruno looks like a bloody steal, doesn't he? Like 40 million for that guy that can basically do everything you want in midfield. You can win a ball back. I mean, I know what it's about Botman, but I think I love Bruno. But the point I'm making is it's really shrewd, and it's not as if we spent 30 million on a risk. We spent 30 million on somebody who's played well over 100 games now, is shown leadership qualities. He's got obviously a great character. Physically, is brilliant, and technically fits into how Newcastle want to play in terms of stepping out with the ball a bit more.
He's represented Holland under 15s, under 16s, under 18s, under 19s, under 20s, under 21s. So you can see his natural path is going to be a full international as well, which I'm excited to have other internationals in the team as well.
Yeah, look, get that Van Dijk chub. Get him out with us. Yeah, I think it's absolutely brilliant. So many facets that I like. I can't get over the fact we chase somebody for 2 windows, like a real high profile player, and sign them. Like that's. When was the last time we done that?
Oh,
I don't know.
there isn't a name that jumps to mind. Like, I'm sure someone will correct us and let us know, but nothing jumps to mind. Things was pursuing a player.
Yeah,
Maybe Willock, but that was a loan
yeah,
deal.
loan,
but
yeah, especially somebody who's
it's another level. Though. It's another level.
Yeah, it really is. Like I think this is like on par with Bruno's signing. Is like it's a bit of a, especially being so high profile, how long it's gone on for, and all the Milan talk, the fact they fend off Milan, that'll turn heads. I think
Champions League football, Serie A holders.
Yeah, wouldn't I?
Magic. So you mentioned there, Jan, about we've rebuilt the back 5 as you call it, including the keeper.
Uh-huh.
What do you think the defence lines up like next season then?
Well, we did this, didn't we? We've written our back fives out. Have you written your back five out?
Yeah.
Have you? So it's not what I haven't written what I think. I've written out what I would do, which is basically what I think. I don't know. So I've gone with.
You've got what you would do, and then
I think there'll be an adjustment to what Eddie Howe will do. I think Eddie Howe might make a slight change.
So what you're saying is you know better than Eddie?
Aye, pretty much, yeah. Give me the staff. I reckon I'd still go with Dubravka against Nottingham Forest.
Would you? Okay.
Yeah, I'd go with Dubravka against Forest. Yeah, I don't think you have a senior member of the team just shunned to the side for. Yeah, although I'm going to shun Shart the side in a minute. And then Trippier, Botman at the right hand side.
Mm-hmm.
Why break down Burn and Tark? Unless you're playing Shaw, I don't see the point in breaking Dan Burn and swapping the other side. Dan Burn and Tark are a really good natural thing together. So I'd go Trippier, Botman, Dan Burn, and Target, and I would sadly be dropping Fabian Shaw.
Fabian Shaw goes to the bench.
Goes to the bench, yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we do have 2 differences then, mate.
You're going Nick Pope, are you?
So I'm going Nick Pope and Sticks. Because I think with goalkeepers, that is a position you don't want to be chopping and changing too often. So if you're going to make the change, try and do it at the start of the season.
Yeah.
So you get a full pre-season, depending on what the tactics are going to be. If they're going to try and play out from the back, you want the keeper rolling it to how the player wants to, which foot he's on. Yeah. So they're the small details which people, when you see like a defender pass the ball back to the keeper's weaker foot and just little bits like that. So if they're going to try and play off from the back, or if they're going to look to hit balls down the channels, depending if we play 4-3-3, which I think a lot of people are presuming that's what Eddie's wanting to do, you're going to want the keeper practicing doing it all through the summer.
Yeah.
Not, again, this is where I think you're wrong, which is a great thing about football, everyone can have opinions. If you have Dubravka in the starting 11, waiting for him to do a mistake, to then drop him to bring Pope in.
Yeah.
Why would you do a full pre-season with Dubravka as you?
Well, I think the pre-season you'll see them both play plenty of games. You'll see them both play 45 minutes a game, basically.
Yeah, but you're always still going to have your main.
I just think there is like Dubravka hasn't let Eddie Howe down, and it's the one thing I think the one thing where Dubravka struggles most with. He's got a mistake in him, but I don't think Nick Pope's immune to mistakes either.
I think every keeper's got a mistake in them.
Yeah, bar the real top ones, they have them less.
But because I've got nothing against Dubravka, I've got nothing against.
But hold on, let me finish real quick. So, I think they've both got a mistake in them, and I don't think Dubravka's let Eddie Howe down. The one thing he can improve on definitely is with the ball at his feet.
Dubravka,
yeah, and I'm not sure Nick Pope is a massive improvement on that. But then, at the same time, the caveat is, has he ever had the chance to do that in a Sean Dyche side where they don't split the 2 centre-halves and play out from the back? So, you just don't know. But when I've seen him play for England, he's always looked a little bit more shaky than with the ball at his feet than like Pickford has. So, that would be my concern. I think he's a great signing. It puts pressure on, and the competition is only good. So I'm all for that. But
so the World Cup starts November.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Nick Pope wants to be on the plane.
Well, should be, I think.
But I think he's going to want to have some sort of guarantee that he's going to get game time. And I don't think he's going to sign the contract saying, look, you're number 2 until Dubravka makes a mistake.
Yeah.
When he makes a mistake, then you take over. So that's kind of the... Cause I'm the same as you. I don't think there's much difference between them. But I just think Pope's going to want to be on the plane, so he's going to have minutes. And I don't think you do a pre-season with Dubravka to change it. He's not going to
that's what you would do. That's not what you think Eddie Howe... Because I agree, I think Eddie Howe will do that. I think Eddie Howe does play Nick Pope. But I would play Dubravka.
I don't see much difference. I think Eddie Howe's going to pick Pope. I would also pick Pope.
Oh, because Eddie Howe's going to pick Pope.
Right back, Trippier.
Shock,
yeah. Shah.
Yeah.
Because I think he's got a bit more pace as well.
Yeah.
Botman and obviously Matty Target, the left back.
Well, you'll notice here that I actually had written out the same initial back four as you, and then scrolled out and thought, no, Burn. I want Burn instead.
The only times I think that's going to... I wouldn't be upset between the 3 centre-halves, to be honest.
Yeah.
I just thought Shah's got a bit more pace. That's maybe why he'll get the nod.
Yeah.
And they both seem really comfortable with ball at feet. So that was also a close call.
It's the right foot, left foot combination as well. That's natural, isn't it?
That's natural, but I don't think it's a big thing. Because there's a conversation on WhatsApp group like, oh, Botman and Burn can't play together because they're both left-footed. Whereas you think through the years there's been plenty of...
Right-footed combinations for years. How many left-footed centre-backs can you remember being really quality?
Mm-hmm. So I don't think that's an issue, what foot you play with. Does it help a little bit? Yes, but I don't think you're going to make your decisions based over... I'm not picking Shah over Burn because he plays with his right foot.
Yeah.
I would pick him because he's got a tiny bit more pace, and Botman and Burton are both... I don't know, Burn's 6'7".
Yeah, he's massive, isn't he?
But Botman still's got that command and you've got that massive tower in centre half. So that would be my back 5. What I was going to say is if Eddie switches back to 3 centre halves, because he's done that a couple of times, didn't he?
Yeah.
That would be quite a strong.
If you went to three at the back,
you're playing
with Trippier and Target as wing backs, and then you surely play Botman in the middle and Shah and Burn either side of him.
Yeah, and then you got
that's some back 3 there, isn't it?
Yeah. You got the 3 in the middle, then you got obviously 2 up top.
Yeah.
Which Max you could kind of play alongside Wilson unless someone else comes along. BBC reported that Ekitike, that deal's apparently off.
Yeah.
That was a couple of hours ago. I haven't seen nothing reported on Sky.
There's been a lot of talk of a bit of it really slowing down. A lot of agents, talk of agents fees and stuff, but
PSG starting to sniff around him a little bit as well.
Well, then it's come out now. PSG have apparently not interested in him. I don't know if there's a lot of agents peddling stories because Dortmund have been interested, PSG, Real Madrid, all the big clubs have apparently been interested in him, but
it's probably been like another 3 clubs interested in the last 18 minutes we've been recording this podcast on the YouTube channel.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting because 2 weeks ago I thought we'd sign Ekitike, but I didn't think Botman would go through. Mm-hmm. And now obviously Botman stood in St James with the shirt in his hand, which is class. But yeah, it does give us options of having the extra, and there's genuine competition now. Mm-hmm. Genuine competition.
So do you think Lascelles will stay in the squad then? Do you think they'll let him go, or what would you be doing?
He probably. I don't know. Clark's obviously going to go.
I still would keep him.
Clark?
No, Lascelles.
No. No.
Don't keep him. Clark, from what I've heard him speak, seems like a nice lad and all this, so it's nothing against his... I was going to say nothing against his character, though he knocks people out on tour on the own floor. But no, I wouldn't have Clark, no. Definitely not. He'd be on his way.
Yeah, which was quite a fall from grace, because 2 seasons ago I was saying he's one of the best centre-halves, wasn't putting a foot wrong. Mm-hmm. Anyway, but yeah, Lascelles... Don't know, you could maybe Fernandez, do you keep him and sell Lascelles more sell-onable?
Probably because of his age, isn't he?
He's younger.
Freddie Fernandez was 32.
Yeah, I think so, aye.
So you can maybe come and do a job if you get a cup running, there's a couple of lower division teams though. Cambridge United.
Well, and I think he seems like a really good pro, doesn't he? And I think it was Longstaff talking about him saying he comes in and just... he's not in the side, but he's class professional in terms of what he does in the gym and all that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of people you want around. So I don't know. I think if I could move the cells on, I probably would.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so he never has to play. Mainly.
So from here, mate, do you want to any more on Botman before we go on?
Nah, it's just class, isn't it?
Class marquee signing. I still think there could be one more marquee signing to come.
I'd love to see us. I know a lot of people talk about getting another centre midfielder in. I do think we need a striker.
Because we haven't been linked with centre mid, have we? So I think there might be a winger and a striker coming.
Yeah, I think a winger. If you can get a winger and a striker. I don't mind if the striker's not like a nailed on starter, because I think Callum Wilson does that. And I think a striker who's competent, come off the bench, maybe somebody young like in the mould of Ekitike, somebody who's maybe a little bit of a risk, but somebody who can certainly doesn't mind sitting on the bench, but also can has got a potential to score goals.
Someone who knows that they're coming, not as the starting 9.
Yeah, but in maybe 2 or 3 seasons time, they're your number 1.
They've got
number 1 9.
Yeah.
number 19.
Yeah, you know that you're taking over from Nick Pope.
Or Dubravka. But I would like to sign a good right winger. An improvement on Ryan Fraser.
Cool. St James's Park, mate.
Yeah.
This morning at 10 a.m, there was 30,000 Newcastle fans.
Carnage,
I'm guessing that if you follow the tune enough, you've probably already got a ticket, or you'd want a ticket, or in fact, no, if you're one of our listeners in Sweden, Norway, Malaysia, Australia, Finland, Mexico, I forgot the other ones. I do apologise.
Mad that like.
Yeah, it's nice to know that we're getting heard around the world. Hopefully, you can understand our accents. You probably do, hence why you're listening. But yeah, there was the carnage of the 1,000 season tickets that went up for grabs.
Yeah. And
you're one of the lucky ones that got through, but then one of the unlucky ones, every time you put a ticket in the basket, it got sold.
Yeah. Yeah, every time I put it in the basket, somebody took it out.
Yeah, there was the caption was first come, first served, but it's also going to be put in at random.
I didn't mind that. I know there's a lot of people. Well, I mean, you probably didn't mind it with your 17,000 in the queue.
Well, there's a lad on Twitter I'd seen where he'd been logged on since 5:30. Because he'd seen first come, first served. So he'd been logged on since 5:30, got to 10 o'clock, and it was like 20,000 in the queue.
Your first come, first serve obviously means first to the actual ticket. First come, first serve. But to get to that point, it's random. I don't mind that. Plus,
so you probably didn't see all this because you actually were scurrying around trying to get a ticket. So our WhatsApp group, which are some mates, there was 2 years got in where there was you and Dickie were running about trying to get tickets, and it just went quiet for a while. So that's where I was sat in 17,000 in the queue just watching a WhatsApp group, seeing what was happening. And you were like, nearly got one. Then Dickie was like, I need to refresh my screen. He said, I'm nervous to press refresh in case it happens again. But he was looking and got a ticket.
The Gallagher as well?
Yeah, so when it says first come, first served, it meant if you were clicked on the ticket, no one else bought it at the time, but it was...
It was carnage, but I think that's a lot of chat on Twitter saying is that kind of proof to the club that we need to expand St James's Park, or we need to look to... Is now the moving to somewhere else question or conversation now one worth having? Yeah,
so that's what I was going to ask, what your thoughts were, mate, because there's a lot of people on social media saying that this could have been potentially like a test for the new owners to see what was the demand for season tickets, the fact that there was like 30,000 people trying to buy them. I mean, I'm not saying all 30,000 we're going to...
because one of our pals won like 2 tablets, a desktop, 2 mobiles.
Yeah, so then people who's trying to get in to buy them, it's going to give them an idea of what the demand is.
Yeah.
And then a lot of people off that were saying, does this show that we need to extend the ground? Do we need to move? So we put a poll on our Twitter page, which is NUFC Talk Pod, if you don't already follow us on Twitter. And when I last checked, it was like over 500 people or 500 votes thereabouts. And it was 70% on the nose were saying stay at St James's.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of people who asked, like, drop comments below to see what what the actual thought was rather than just a yes or no. And a lot of people got involved, which thank you very much. We do appreciate any comment that we get on the channels. A lot of people were saying, don't jump the gun. We're still new into the project. A lot of people were saying we need to try and build on the back of the leases, try and increase on top of the east stand, but the east stand obviously there's all the listed buildings behind.
Yeah, is it Lee's Garden or something like that?
Yeah, so it's going to be very, very difficult. Depending on who you read or what social medias you follow, what channels and what papers you read, there's plans to try and get up to 60 or 65 or 70, but is this a time when the other half of the 30% of people, they were probably the other
30,000
30,000 trying to buy a ticket. They're saying it's a time to go somewhere new and build a new stadium, 80,000, 90,000 seat stadium.
I don't know, it's like I can see both sides of the coin. Like I absolutely love when I'm in town, when I go to work and stuff, and see St James's, I love it. Yeah, so that is class. That's Bank City Centre. I'm all for that, but also I do understand that things develop and change and grow and move on. I think one thing I think is important to recognise, the chances are that when this becomes a proper conversation internally, we will understand, we'll know, there will maybe communication to say, actually, we've asked for permission and we could maybe get this to 62,000.
So I've got a list of some of the, sorry for jumping there, Jan. I've got a list of the Premier League clubs, the stadiums and the capacities. And I was quite surprised how many clubs built completely new stadiums and the numbers that they have. So the Etihad, or some would call it the Etihad, capacity 55,000. Say they go and build a new stadium to get to 55. I
can't remember. Yeah, you must have been there. So I didn't go to Main Road, so I was there. I can remember, but it felt super modern. They were scanned the tickets, and I was like, this, because I was a season ticket holder at the time when I was only a kid at the time. But I was like, this ain't like St James's, this.
St James's, some of the turnstiles, it's a bit of a struggle to get there. Was it the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium?
Yeah.
62,000.
I want to go there. Like,
now that looks like a nice stadium, but for how much they built just to get it to
$1 billion? It's like $1 billion loan out to get it to 62,000. So that's not a lot.
Is that me thinking? I know I'm saying just 62 is still an incredible large amount of people, but London club.
There's 50 clubs in London, isn't there? So
to get to 62,000, Arsenal 60,000.
You
got Old Trafford, which is 75,000.
Yeah.
And there's talk about them trying to take out however much money to whatever they're going to do at the stadium. Chelsea's 41, which they can't build on. Anfield's 53, and they increased one of their stands a couple of seasons ago. Aston Villa, this is an interesting one. It's just been on Sky Sports today. They're looking to increase by 7,500, which would take them from, I think it was 42.5 up to 49,000. Then you got West Ham at 62.5.
Yeah, so it took West Ham. It took West Ham a season, a good run in the Europa League, getting to the final, and I bet you 90% of the people that were like negative about moving from the Bowling Ground to London Stadium, I bet there's a ton of them that
Upton Park.
Upton Park, aye. What I got the Bowling Ground, aye.
I think I was one of the sponsors, wasn't it?
Is that what it used to be called years ago? I don't know. It's Upton Park. I couldn't remember what it was actually called, Upton Park. So, I reckon a bunch of people that were negative about the move are now far less negative. Because all you got to do is create some memories, haven't you? You got to create some nights. Remember when this happened, and then suddenly. But if you put a gun to my head, I'd stay at St James's. If we could add on to 5,000, amazing, great.
Yeah, it'd be nice to get an idea of what their plans are. Go and find out what can we actually do there. It does need to increase one way or another.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it makes business sense to do so. If there's demand for, if you could say there's demand to get a 70,000 seater stadium filled every week, including European nights, cup nights, it makes sense. So I think it is a question that it's not going to go away. So it's interesting. Where do you stand on it? What do you think? Because I'm still pro St James's.
I would prefer to stay at St James's Park all day long. All these new stadiums, like you said, sometimes don't have a bit of a soul. It's kind of like when England moved to New Wembley, and you're right, you hit the nail on the head. So I'm hitting this mic so much here. Sorry for anyone who's got listeners on on the podcast, and so you're getting booms in your ear. Yeah, because when we left old Wembley, went to New Wembley, it was like the Twin Towers and like all the.
And that was the same stadium.
Sorry.
That was the same stadium. They just knocked it down and rebuilt it, didn't they?
Yeah, so they're going down and seeing the famous like Wembley Way and everything, and I'd like thinking back to the World Cups and the FA Cup finals. You're right. All it is creating some new memories there, isn't it?
Yeah.
So right now I would stay St James's Park all day long. If they could come out and say, look, this is the plan, we know we can get it up to, I don't know, just a number, 60,000, 65,000. That's the max.
I mean, that would be amazing, that.
That's the max we can do. In 5 years, 10 years time, the plan is to go to, I don't know, Leisure Park, or it's to go down to somewhere on the riverside, and we're going to do the Quayside River, whatever you want to call it, and do like a 85,000, 90,000, whatever the number is.
Yeah.
It would be nice to know what their long-term vision and plan would be.
Yeah.
But I'd much rather stay at St James's, definitely. But you're right, if business sense says we can definitely fill a larger one, and there's no better fans in the Premier League than Newcastle fans.
Yeah, we get packed out, man.
Mm-hmm.
We'll absolutely get packed out. I've no doubt, I genuinely think I've no doubt, if that was a 65,000 seater stadium, you sold out.
Oh, yeah.
Average attendance would be 64,800. So, yeah, it's an interesting one. The debate's not going to go away.
Because of the away fans.
But yeah, other things going on. Noon, might help me.
Yeah. Yeah. Actually got a few giggles for this last night on the tweet I put out. One of the hashtags I put was #Noon.
Oh, Noon Army. Yeah, I did see that actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So if anyone who hasn't seen this, where the fuck you been? But we got some new sleeve sponsors, which I think that just shows you how our owners are finding ways to win and finding ways to get around stuff.
Yeah.
So it's basically for anyone who maybe doesn't follow football as closely, or maybe you're new to following the Premier League, you now can get sponsors on your sleeves. So
it's only official kits though. We won't buy replica kits with those on, will we? Or will we?
I don't know the answer.
I think it's only for the official kits that they wear on match days. I don't know if it's for, because I ain't got kayak on this.
Huh?
And Trippier, when he got signed, he was like pointing the kayak badge.
I know, yeah, that was a whole.
Let's get Sven Botman pointing that Noon badge.
Yeah.
Let's get those £7.5 million pointing at.
So, to give you an idea of what people or what companies, what clubs are getting for sleeve sponsors, there's a few here which is doing their own. So, top of the tree, you got Man United, who have Collar, KOHLER.
Yeah, massive brand.
Collar are an American company.
Yeah.
That do kitchens and bathrooms.
They also own like the Old Course Hotel and like up in Scotland, the original golf courses and stuff. And they're a massive business.
It's a huge company. Chelsea, 10 million for Hyundai.
Yeah.
And then,
don't they?
Yeah, and then if you drop it down to we're not going to go through all of them, don't worry. But if you drop it down to the cheapest ones, you got Brighton.
Who they got? Like John's Auto Park. John's Auto Parts.
JD Sports, 500,000. You got West Ham, who have Bassett and Gold, and you have Leicester, 500,000, who have Tybev, and then you got Wolves, 1 million for Coin Deal, which I think it's a crypto. So it gives you an idea.
Interesting, yeah.
We have actually said Noon is 7.5 million.
Yeah.
Which is what they've paid. To give you an idea, Fun, which is on Fun 88, our main sponsor.
Yeah.
8.5 million. So the fact that we've got Noon.
Do you like robbery? That innit?
They've got such a good deal, but also it just gives you an indication of what type of money we're going to bring in. You think when we can get our own sponsors on there, because if anyone doesn't know, Noon is it's a Saudi-based company who. It's like Amazon.
It's like an e-commerce retailer, isn't it?
Yeah, it sells loads of stuff online. It's partly owned or is completely owned by the Public Investment PIF.
I would expect, more than likely.
So they've managed to get some...
Only started yesterday.
Well, they've managed to get some money ploughed into the club that way. But when we get the first main sponsor on the shirt,
Aramco,
that's going to be huge. When they can somehow rename St James's Park, but still keep St James's Park in the name because our owners know how important that name is. And then they rename the stadium.
Just rename one of the corners, the Aramco corner.
Yeah. I'll let them sponsor like
200 million.
Sponsor like the crossbars or something like that.
Yeah. And I want to hear Martin Taylor saying, "Oh, and he's hitting off the Aramco crossbar."
Yeah. I think sponsor the car park.
Yeah. I think it's good. It's our first little move in the sort of against financial fair play. There'll be I mean, these got 1 year left on the deal, haven't they?
1 year left.
Clearly were trying to boot them out of it, weren't they? And Fun 88 obviously have been like, nah, we know we're getting some global shit here. We're hanging on. You've got 8 million. We're hanging on. Because clearly, when it came out with no sponsor on the shirt, when Mike Ashley started selling them before the club even announced them, with no sponsors on, clearly, obviously they were trying to push them out of the deal maybe early. Mm-hmm. So one of Piff's sister companies could got a couple of 100 million there.
It's going to be so exciting. Remember how excited we are for the transfer window this year. Imagine another transfer window, better league position, another couple of sponsors on it.
Yeah, imagine a few years' time as European football, and that's actually going back into the club and stuff. Yeah, it's going to be 90,000 seat stadium with 2 stadiums.
That's it. The midweek games are played here.
You can watch it on the big screen at the stadium.
But a big screen. I remember when I was a kid. This was like I think it was the entertainers era, and message if you were one of the people who watches. We used to go to the cinema, the old cinema on Northumberland.
In town?
Yeah, Northumberland Street, and watch the games on Saturdays.
Mad.
So you used to go and watch, in the cinema, they'd put the game on live, so everyone would be in St James's Park, and if you couldn't get a ticket, we used to go down and watch watch the game. And
those kind of films.
Well, I was in black and white, yeah. Hey. But yeah, I remember back in them days.
Yeah, that's it, 2 stadiums. That's how you get your money's worth.
I'm not sure how they get around the 3 o'clock kickoff rule, but if there's anyone that'll find a way.
Just get Match of the Day on. Come watch Match of the Day, 90,000 packed in to watch Match of the Day.
I'd have Gary Lineker presented.
He'll take the money.
I know one person would present it, Shearer. He'd be there.
He'd take the money. But yeah, the noon stuff, it's good. It's I think it's the first little move against, like I say, financial fair play. Mm-hmm. Next season it'll be interesting to see. It'll be some. I'm not saying it'll be Aramco, obviously, but it'll be something like that, some Saudi-based company, I would imagine. Mm-hmm. Would you be understanding because of the fact that it's like the business needs for the club to move forward? If it was like, for instance, obviously, I don't know if you're Aramco, like a massive oil company, Saudi-based oil company. Would you be adverse to what would you thought to be for St James or the Aramco arena at St James's Park? What would you be like? It's going to get us £50 million of the transfer kitty. What do you think?
Honestly,
because when Ashley did it, we were like, "Fucking burn your house down!"
I would not care one bit.
Would you not? Interesting that.
Thing is, when it was Ashley though, it's where Ashley's coming from, and where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And yes, they're both in it for money. I'm sure, long term, the PIF want to get some sort of world brand from Newcastle.
Well, sports wash, don't they? Whenever I think that's Saudi nice regime. So.
Whatever. I'm not going to get into the political side of it, but if you look at a club like Man United, it just came out there. They did 6 billion worldwide, and they put 4 billion back into the club, and the Glazers have took 2 billion out over the last couple of years.
Seems a good deal that for those Glazers.
For the Glazers, yeah. So that's why all the Man United fans are going nuts because the frigging stadium.
Didn't they leverage against a club to buy the club as well?
Yeah, something along them lines. Mad. So yeah. So maybe that might be the plan long term. Maybe they're just using the club as
political branding, whatever you want to call it. Yeah.
Whatever it is, I don't want to. Like I said, I don't want to get too much in that. But we know it's going to benefit the club.
Yeah.
It's going to benefit Newcastle. The fans are going to see a better product.
Yeah.
And it's still Newcastle. Like, look at the pictures that's just come out of St James's this past week or so.
Yeah.
Where they've started redecorating inside the
good,
stands, which was only one stand, but it's who's that team they call United, and they've got like all the bits done above the bar, so the bars areas are being done
The
up.
concourses are needing, or in desperate need, weren't they?
The Shearer statue's being moved, so it looks like it's in the right spot right now. We went to, do you remember the Norwich game we went to?
Yeah.
We took our pals, actually a Norwich fan.
Oh, aye.
And I told him, I was like, look, one of the staircases we're going up, they literally have the number of the staircase wrote on the wall in like black pen. And he was like laughing, and he's like, no way, like he's a Norwich fan. He's like, even Norwich, they have like signs on. So we went up to the top and like where we're having a beer, I was like, look, and had the staircase number like wrote on the wall with black pen. So anyway, I'm going a bit off point here. But the point I'm trying to make is they're going to improve the club. They're going to improve the stadium. They've already started on the training ground. They've invested back in the club. If it's going to benefit everybody, we're going to get a better product. If it's called whatever it is, at St James's Park, everyone's still going to call it St James's Park.
Yeah.
When it was the Sports Direct Arena at St James's Park, or whatever the fuck it was called, everyone still called it St James's Park. Yeah. We were just annoyed that we had this horrible red and blue branding all over, right?
Yeah, no, the branding was one thing, but I think you're totally right. There's two different things. One is trying to generate revenue for the club to benefit the club, and there's obviously a political side, but that's by the by. But
Mike Ashley didn't find a way like, how can I put 100 million at the club?
But Mike Ashley was just trying to get his brand worldwide, his brand globally. So absolutely agree.
What's your thought?
Yeah, I think I would agree. If it was to get a leg up on sort of the transfer market, if it was to attract that next one big player, that because you would call it St James's, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it sounds as if you've got like the Eddie had.
Yeah.
So it's not going to be called like. Hopefully, it's not just going to be called the.
Well, that's what it will be if you move stadium. It's a new stadium. It'll be interesting to see what they do with the ground if they have the ground sponsored. The training ground sponsored. Because I know like a bunch of clubs like Everton and stuff have their training ground sponsored by.
Do they?
Aye. That's the FFP.
If there's a way to sponsor me, it's going to be getting.
Get those toilets sponsored. Welcome to the Ramco toilets.
Yeah.
Aye. So, the noon stuff is good. All in all, good news. Good news.
Good news. It's been a good bit of banter.
Noon Army. Can't wait for that.
Noon Army. If you haven't already, check out us on Twitter, because it got a reaction from Newcastle fans. It got some reaction as usual from non-Newcastle fans. So
Villa fans will be in there. They love it at the minute, don't they? They absolutely love it.
They're all over us. So I put the original Twitter, which was Glen_NUFC. It was retweeted by the pod channel, which is NUFC Talk Pod. Yeah, there was some good constructive conversation from Newcastle fans, and then there was the odd fan from different clubs coming in and putting in their 2 pence, which is obviously never wrong.
Aye.
But
that'd be shot. A lot of salty fans.
A lot of salty, funny fans.
That's it, is it? Anything else?
Yeah, I think that's it. I had one other question. I know we kind of touched on this a little bit, because Nick Pope happened just as everything was just as we were pressing record. It was kind of a last minute thing, because it was confirmed pretty quick. A week on, what's your thoughts and how are you feeling about it?
Oh, Nick Pope, I think it's a really good buy. I know I said I would be starting Dubravka, but I'd only be doing that because I don't see that much difference in them. Unless Nick Pope can, we can use his feet in pre-season and stuff, and we think actually, no, he's going to be an improvement. But it's a no-brainer for me. 10 million for a Premier League quality goal in England international, who's solid. Yeah, a no-brainer. It adds competition, and I think that can only excel their careers. Surely, surely can only improve Dubravka to have somebody biting his heels, vice versa. Nick Pope's never really had anybody challenging him at Burnley, and Dubravka, although Darlow played, Darlow was so far away from Dubravka.
Yeah, Bruce gave him a shootout a few times, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Bruce just did that because Rafa signed Dubravka. But yeah, no, I think it's really shrewd, and I'm not just saying that with like the Eddie Howe, sort of Amanda Staveley, Dan Ashworth eyes on. I think it's a really good bit of business.
Dan Ashworth, what a job he's done since he's come in. I know obviously the Botman thing's been in the pipeline since January, but
yeah. He basically walked straight in, nutted Maldini and was like, get out of the way, mate. We'll have Botman. Yeah. Knock Henderson straight out, mate, you're shite. Get back to Man United. Nick, get over here, Pope, lad.
Went down, picked up Pope, drove him by himself.
Yeah, get in the boot now, son.
Think, Botman, I've got you this flight. Stop arguing. Just get on it. This is the crack. Maldini.
Look, that noon, that's your 7.5 million, son. Come here. He's done a really good job, hasn't he? I think the first thing for me was the Henderson. There's so much talk, and then bam, just Henderson wasn't happening anymore. It was that seemed to be very much Dan Ashworth when he first came in, because it was all the talk was it was pretty much done for 25 million.
I think that's why. Sorry, same with Ekitike. I think that's why it's quieting down because since Ashworth's come in.
I think there's a lot of that agent trying to maybe peddle out what deal he can get, trying to maybe see. I'm not sure Ekitike is kicking the stream to get Newcastle. Clearly through obviously January, whereas the difference was Diego Carlos and Botman were looking to come to Newcastle in January, whereas Ekitike, he knocked back the deal. So I think there's a little bit of that in it, but chances are it's probably on the table now. Here's the deal. We'd love you to come, but we're not going to be holding over a barrel. So,
and if you look at Carlos versus Botman now,
29 and 22, yeah.
Be interesting seeing them two square off next season. Yeah,
good.
Gonna be good. Well, yeah, that wraps it up. Thank you very much for downloading. If you're on Spotify, if you're on Apple Podcasts, make sure you're leaving a 5-star review. If you're on YouTube, please drop us a comment on anything that you've agreed with, anything that you disagreed with. TikTok, Instagram, say hello, tell us your thoughts as well. Apart from that, we are grateful for every single person. All our channels are growing, subscribers are growing every single week. So thank you very much. Have an incredible week, and can't wait to see what we'll be talking about next week.
I know, man. Exciting.
Speak to you all soon.